Now we're going to hear from Inni Kaur. So her journey with Sikhi started after 1984, and she says that she had a shift in consciousness and was drawn to Sikhi. Somehow, Sabad chiseled, and I began to feel connected with my inner self, she says. Chiseling is painful, for it is constant, but it is needed to unearth a beautiful sculpture. Of Bhai Vir Singh, she says, to the world, he is Bhai Vir Singh Ji, the sixth river of Panjab, but to me, he is simply Pitaji. I asked her to describe Bhai Vir Singh in a 6-word story, and she stated, it is possible to experience IkOankar. Let's learn from her journey of discovery. Please welcome Inni Kaur.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. You know, today has been, Harinder Singh started with saying, we were driving together and he said, today, after 7 years, this was possible. He's been wanting a conference on Pitaji for the last 7 years. And I said, I've been wanting one for the last 4. And here, the two of us were driving this morning to this wonderful event. I couldn't believe it. It's unreal for me. On a personal level, today is the death of my mother. It's her anniversary. So I'm celebrating that with you, with Pitaji. Today is the birthday of the woman which Harinder Singh put up on the slide. I didn't know that you were going to honor Auntie Sardarni Mohinder Kaur. Today is also the birthday of an incredible woman who's turning 91 today. Her name is Prem Auntie, and she's a follower, a devotee, a lover of Pitaji. And I stand here before you on this incredible day, speaking about the man who has taken me from crayons to perfume. So I begin with the words of the man who he really touched in a very, very deep way, Professor Puran Singh. And this is what Professor Puran Singh writes about Pitaji. This silent poet makes the rivers cry and sets the hills on fire by the touch of his emotion. I wander around his rooms, sit here, stand there, do nothing, think nothing, just wonder, admire, and take tea with him, or enjoy a morning meal in his company, gaze at him as he eats and talks. And when I come away, I find myself full of a divine love. Well, that was Puran Singh. That was his experience. However, I cannot say I have taken tea with him or a morning meal. But I too am filled with divine love when I'm immersed in his teachings, in his writings. He was Bhai Vir Singh for many years. Then he became Bhai Vir Singh. And now I refer to him as Pitaji. And this is that journey I want to talk to you about today. I only heard his name after my marriage. And there would be snippets of this conversation which I would hear with my family, my new family, my husband's family. And there was a reverence in their tones. And when you're 19 and when someone's, has this reverence, you kind of like tune out because you're still exploring, or whether you're not connected or not, that's not the point. The point is I wasn't there. I had tuned out. However, there was a slight shift in me when I began visiting my husband's Bhuva, Mindaranti, the one whose photograph you saw. Now, Auntie lived in Panchpati in Dehradun. This was the place where Pitaji would spend his summers. This is also the place where Professor Puran Singh would hang out. So no wonder the entire atmosphere at Panchpati is just charged. It's unbelievable what you feel as you just drive through the gates of Panchpati. And Aunt and I would just sit in the garden and she would reel story after story. This is the tree, lychee tree Pitaji planted. These are the beds, he had laid out, very specific. This is the way he wanted his vegetables to be laid out. I mean, it was very precise. Everything was just done right. This is also the place where I was introduced to Puran Singh's writings. I was hooked. I had never, ever read Sikh thought explained and presented in the way Puran Singh has presented. Of course, he became my favorite author, but I couldn't get into Pitaji's writings for the simple reason the translations were just not there. I mean, what was there, I couldn't understand. I mean, it was just, put it politely, horrible. And my reading skills in Punjabi at that stage in my life were non-existent. I did not know reading at all, and what I knew verbally was also very little. My Punjabi skills at that time were next to nothing. However, all that changed at the age of 45 when I decided, okay, it was about time that I learned Gurmukhi. So I learned Gurmukhi, the alphabets, in 3 weeks. And after 3 weeks, guess what book I picked up to practice my Punjabi? Do you know the book I picked up? It was Guru Nanak Chamatkar. Here was the scene every evening at home. Me sitting on a couch. Left side was the Keda, right side was the dictionary, Guru Nanak Chamatkar in my lap, and a legal pad with a pen. Every paragraph took me forever to read because I couldn't connect the words. And then to understand was another story altogether, but that's a story in itself. So I began writing as much as I could, understanding what it was that I was writing. What possessed me to pick up this very dense and difficult book? I don't know. But I think at a subtle level I do know, because Guru moves in mysterious ways. And I only found that out many years later. Through Pitaji's eyes, I fell in love with the first Pacha. Every Sakhi in Guru Nanak Chamatkar took me to a different level. Everything became alive. I seemed to be walking with the first Pacha and observing everything. It was like I was a witness to something that was happening. It was unreal. I was there. I am there even now. The minute I go back to Guru Nanak Chamatkar, it's like I'm right there. And that, as I reflect back, was the beginning of my journey with the Guru series. All the material was already there. So when the voice spoke to me 8 years later, you must write the book. And I'm saying, I've never written a book, but you will. And I knew the material was right there because 8 years earlier, I had worked on it. I want to share with you a few of the most, I would say, profound points in Guru Nanak Chamatkar, which really changed my thinking, made me deeper and much closer to Pitaji. And I remember the dialogue was between Pacha and the Brahmin on what is Nam. And this is how Pitaji describes it. Nam is not mere repetition. Nam is repetition, remembrance, and a sensation. Nam is life. Nam is grace. Nam is when the Rabbi Jyot within, when the Rabbi Jyot meets with the Jyot within you. Nam is love, devotion, intoxication, and rapture. Nam is when, in your remembrance, you feel a sweet sensation on your tongue. Nam is when all the cells in your body get immersed in the love of IkOankar, and the flow of blood through your veins resounds with the sensation of IkOankar. When every pore, every cell rejoices, know that at that moment you are truly awake, you are truly alive. I had never heard or read such an explanation of Naam. To say it captivated me was an understatement. Every question of mine finds an answer in Guru Nanak Chamatkar. And believe me, I had many questions. So to my question, what is enlightenment? Does it happen? Is it possible? Is it real? And this is what Pitaji writes. When the Rabbi Jyot meets with the Jyot within you, at that moment, enlightenment takes place. Your life, as you know, it ceases. This Rabbi Jyot transforms you. Wonder and gratitude fill you, fill every pore of your being. Dyed deep in the crimson color of love, this rang which we talked about in the morning, you will see IkOankar pervading everywhere. This is what ignited a hunger and a thirst within me to experience this oneness in creation, because the way Pitaji has described it has made everything very real and very possible for me. My love for the first Pacha grew deeper and deeper with every chapter of Guru Nanak Chamatkar. And when I read what Mansukh, a devotee of the first Pacha, replies to the Raja of Sri Lanka, when asked, the Raja asks him, "Tell me more about your Guru. I want to know more." And this is what Mansukh says. What can I say about my Guru? Whatever I say will be a drop in the ocean. My Guru is pure love. My Guru is my every breath. My Guru is my life. I was a broken man until I met him. He made me whole. Without my Guru, I am incomplete. These words of Mansukh made the Raja want to meet Guru. And this is what he tells the Rani, his Rani. I want to meet the man who has the ability to make a person feel whole. The love that Mansukh has for his Guru pours out of every pore of his being. I too yearn to speak about my Guru the way Mansukh spoke about his. For Mansukh's story is my story. There is no difference. Guru Nanak Chamatkar is a treasure house. I'm continuously finding more and more jewels in it. That's maybe because my Punjabi is getting a bit better. I do want to share this one particular jewel. This is what Pitaji writes about IkOankar when asked, if IkOankar is everywhere, why can't I see or feel the presence of IkOankar? This is a question posed to Pacha by his father. This was that critical moment in the chapter where the father is still not pleased with his son. And this, through Pitaji's words, is what Pacha says. IkOankar's presence is like water. Water appears in different forms. It's under volcanoes, mountains, and even deserts. It is also hidden deep in the core of the earth. It becomes visible when we dig for it. Similarly, IkOankar's presence is hidden deep within us. It becomes apparent when we seek it. When effort is made to connect with IkOankar, then its presence is felt. In a river, water is visible and flows effortlessly. In the same way, people whose minds are awakened see and feel the presence of IkOankar naturally. You know, from Guru Nanak Chamatkar, I journeyed into the Banis, into his Vyakhya of the Banis. His Vyakhya takes me to an unreal level because Pitaji explains the root of every word. Every sentence in that Vyakhya is like a mind stretch for me. I feel myself growing and expanding. I remember when I had just finished, I would say, studying, translating, transcreating, I'm not sure what the right word is, on Sidgosht. It took me, I think, 2 years, but for 2 years I was just immersed in the Bani of Sidgosht. It was just Sidgosht and I together. And I told myself, okay, it's done, but it's never done. But I said, you need a break. So just put away all your books and just take a break. But then my eye just fell onto the Lama Bani. And imagine my shock when I just glanced at it. It was the first page, and he's got the word Lam written over there, and he's got that huge of an explanation on what love means. Just the word. And he goes into the root and the multiple meanings and exactly everything. And I'm like, what? There's no round over here. And we always translate lam as round in the first round. And he doesn't mention round at all. Of course, I'm hooked. Forget about taking the break. I'm now studying this. I'm immersed in it. And now, after I finished it, I've translated Lam as the first link, not as a round. Because when you study the way he has explained it, you realize what it is being really said. He has the knack of taking the most complex things and making them so easy to understand, something which we can relate to, at least something which I can relate to. It becomes very visual for me. He's a writer that the way he writes, everything seems to be right in front of you. And you can connect in an unreal way. This is what he writes about Sahaj. We use the word Sahaj aana chahiye zindagi vich, but what is Sahaj? So, in the translations we say it's your true intuitive nature, it is natural, but what is that true intuitive nature? What is Sahaj? And this is what he writes. Sahaj can be compared to a shallow lake where there is no foam or froth. No waves are formed. It's a stillness. That stillness is your true intuitive nature of your consciousness. It is the way your chit, your consciousness, is meant to reside. Desires rise like the waves, but they cannot shake that stillness. We cannot be away from desires. Your consciousness, your chit, has reached its true home and is at true peace. This is the way the consciousness has to reside within the body. When you fall in love with someone, you want to know everything about that person. And you go to great lengths to find out, ki karte sige, ki pinde hege, what did he read, what did he, you just have that thing. Well, that's what because I am in that stage. I'm in that stage of love as well. So I'm continuously finding people or seeking people, or actually people just come. They know I'm nutty about Pitaji, and they just say, well, join the club. So over the years, I've met quite a few individuals. And today is the birthday of Premanti. She turns 91 today. She knows I'm here speaking about her Maharajji and my Pitaji. And she said she met Pitaji at the age of 26 in Bombay. And all he said to her was, you have IkOankar written on your forehead. That's all he said to her. In her words, beta, that day, मैं ठाकुरां दी पूजा करनी बंद कर दित्ती सीगी. I stopped worshipping the Thakurs. It was not easy to go against the family, but I did it, and see how my life has changed. A woman in Bombay, 26 years old, 3 years into her marriage, this is what is happening with her. She has shared many intimate details about her spiritual journey. Our conversations are very rich, but there's a humbling experience. She cannot understand. I mean, it's far beyond her to understand. I mean, she tells me, she said, I'm just surprised. Tu kitho di, Kuwait di, kuch vi nahi padhya hoya, na Pitaji nu janni, itna pyar tere vich. How is it possible? She said, you don't even fit the mold of. I said, I don't know what that mold is. Is there a mold? But she says, but you have met him. And she said he would say this because, the Sangat from far and wide would come to see him. And they would stand waiting for him. I was editing one of the books, which has just been, it was translated and I was editing it. And there's a story of a man in there who was greatly moved. He read the tract which Harinder was talking about in Hong Kong. And he saved that tract. And he says, when I come back, I want to meet this man. And the minute he landed in Bombay, the first thing he did was to go to Amritsar and wanted to meet him. So what was it in that tract that moved him so much? Though there's plenty that moves you. So she said, he would say, there is no need for people to come and see me, meet me. They will meet me in my writings. And truly, that is what has happened to me. I have met him through his writings. Many individuals have shared with me that he had this presence and that when they were around him, everything within them quietened. It was like, they were quiet. I can relate to that. Because when I open and start studying and reading Guru Nanak Chamatkar, I grow silent too. It's like I'm in a different world. It's just Pacha, Mardana, and myself. It's just the three of us. And we are on this incredible journey. He was an amazing writer, you've seen, but he was a very reluctant speaker. He didn't like to speak in public. I hear these stories when I'm in Bombay, when he came for this educational conference and people wanted to confer on him the award and everything. He never came on stage. He stood below, and this is all what he did. And everyone said, "Tus bollo tese." And he recited 2 lines of Gurbani, which I can't remember. I should have done that. And that's what he did. When I was reading as to why he wrote in Punjabi, and the people who went to him, the elitists, the elite that went to him and said, "Don't write in Punjabi, write in the language." But then, when they read what he wrote, they went silent. Because he has taken that language, the beautiful language, and made it something else. Maybe one day I will be able to share with you my understanding of this epic-like poem which Harinder referred to, Rana Surat Singh. It's more than 14,000 lines of exquisite, dense, light verse, totally immersed in Bani. How he has taken that and lifted it up and used the elements, the lightning, the river, the tree, the flowers, and the wind, the zephyr. He has used that to speak and create this atmosphere. A woman with the opening lines, she tells the river, "Be silent, disturb not my husband. Your babbling is disturbing him. He lies beneath this ground, her Rana." From that distraught state, he brings her to the stage where she goes through her journey, and at the end, she rules the kingdom. And that's the journey of the current. That is when a person is so broken down, has lost hope, how he fills you up, step by step. I want to share with you, it's not written here. In the poem of Jamuna, Jamuna speaks when the 10th Pacha, when the Veena player comes and bathes in her, and he leaves, and Jamuna cries, "Where are you? Where are you? Did you bathe in me or did I bathe in you? I know not. I want you." And she goes searching for him, for that Veena player. She goes up to the heavens. She falls down the Himalayas. She searches left, right for that Veena player. She asks everyone, where is he? And they all say, he's gone. He's gone into the ethereal. He is with the elements. She goes to the yogis. She says, where is he? He's gone. And she tells the yogis, you know not where he is. And the yogis come to the Jamuna and say, we are here. And she says, it's not you. It's not you. It is him that I want. And the poem ends, if this is the pain you have given me, if this is the longing, I embrace it with grace and love, for I will wait for you for eternity. This is how he takes a simple act and he makes it so profound. And there's another one. Love and wisdom, and it's a conversation between a nightingale and a traveler, and it's about the rose. The nightingale is caged. She comes back and she sees that her garden, her rose garden, is totally gone because man has come in and stolen the roses and sold them for a song. And she cries. And the traveler says, but the roses never belonged to you. Why are you crying? And she says, are you telling me that I love the rose for the sake of the rose? The gardener loved it because he wanted something from it. This is the relationship. When you love someone, when you want something for them, or you love for the sake of loving, this is what Pitaji is saying to me in the poem. And the traveler takes you through this incredible poem, and at the end he says, I feel your pain, but don't look for bliss outside. Don't look for the nectar outside. If you want this continuous nectar, go within you, and there you will find it. This joy, this bliss is within you. You know, Pitaji's language map is derived. You know, we all have a language map where we draw our words from, what moves us. And his entire language map, the pattern which he uses, is all based on the Guru Granth Sahib. Every word of it is derived from them. So if you don't really know Bani, and I know very little, but if you really don't know Bani, it's very difficult to really grasp what he's saying. And that's why the underlining, not the underlining, I have chippies on the side, because I don't underline my books. One has to really be immersed in Bani to be able to translate. And even then, you know, Nikki and I try to translate as best as we can. But really his work cannot be translated because he's a saint, he's a poet, and he's beyond genius. And I have come to love and revere this man for what he has done for me. And that is the reason why I call him Pitaji. I sit at his feet, I listen, and when I don't understand, he's very patient. I ask him, explain. I don't get it. It becomes very, very alive for me. I feel his energy. I feel his tremendous love. You know, there are some relationships that define time, space, and worldly explanations. This, for me, is one of them. I no longer need to know why this bond has taken place or for what reason this has happened. I just honor and accept this relationship. And today, I don't even know how to thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to stand here before you and speak about the man who has brought fragrance in my life, who has just taken every concept, every thought of Gurbani and just made it come alive. He has made it possible for a very, very ordinary human being to say, you are the Jyot, this is the way. He has made it possible because I know he lives in that spirit. You know, I was listening to Harinder when he was giving his presentation, and I was saying, this is how I feel about him. This is what he has done for me. It was uncanny just sitting there and listening. And then I'm saying, how can this one man be able to do that? But that's what words do. You know, when the thought comes from a different place, it uplifts you. I can read a whole lot of other authors and be done with it. But with Guru Nanak Chamatkar and with his Vyakhyas, I keep doing it over and over again. So much so that his audio, his Guru Nanak Chamatkar and Kalgigar Chamatkar is in my car 24/7. That's the only thing I listen to. People ask me, which are the poets or what others, who else do you read in Punjabi? I said, I read no one except him, because I want to be immersed in his thought, the way he writes, the way he thinks. I want to see what he's thinking. I want to feel it. I want every emotion which he's written and explained, I want to feel that. So that's my journey with my Pitaji, which I'm so blessed to share with you. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.